As you may have gathered from the title of this miniseries, I am by definition depressed. Taking from depression's psychiatric definition, depression is a mental condition characterized by feelings of severe despondency and dejection, typically also with feelings of inadequacy and guilt, often accompanied by lack of energy and disturbance of appetite and sleep.
Would that be all?
Yeah, that'll do it.
Okay, 5.9.
Thank you. Can't keep hiring these deaf people, Taco Bell. Need I say more? I am to make something out of this dump of a mindset I'm in, where many under the influence, including myself, stop and never start walking again. I feel that the only way I could cope would be to trudge on. So that's what this is. Me moving forward. Want to go for a walk? My experience with this illness is a fairly ignorant one. For the longest time, I always considered my thoughts, the bad ones, were a direct consequence of merely a bad day. I didn't understand what depression was. Not really. When I was in high school, though, I believed for a short while that I knew it deeply more than others. Many delinquents my age go through a similar mindset, and more often than not, that view of their world sticks through graduation. But as I was saying, I incorrectly believed that I was more enlightened on the subject. Can you guess why? I had a girlfriend who unfortunately had it so bad that she would harm herself. It's grim, and I'm not going to give out names. I'm not going to go anywhere about it being a moral action or what she could have possibly been thinking when doing it. I know, but let's save that for another episode. I believed that depression, that level at least, was a direct result of experiences that carve you a little too deep. I was for many years considered to be a therapist of sorts for my clique of friends. I would listen to problems and occasionally give basic advice. The cliche stuff like, you need to move on, or you're too good for him. But mostly, everything's going to be okay. This time of my life got to my head. I acquired a major messiah complex, and that played into my relationship with the girl in high school. I can fix her, I keep telling my disapproving parents. A sick joke, now that I look back on it. After a move to a new town and a teary breakup with my long-term girlfriend, I continued to dish out the obscured, testimonial-driven psychology treatments to my friends who asked for it, and even the ones who didn't. I believed I had the answers, and I refused to learn anything because of it.
How's your bagel? I haven't had it yet.
One day, my old friend, David, who lived in my hometown, texted me, and we caught up on times. He broke out a confession that he was depressed and wasn't sure what to do. Now, by now, I've said enough to suggest what I told him next. And I did, and to many it may not be that big of a deal, and it wasn't for him. But it has stuck with me to this day, so it must mean something. You're not depressed, I said. You're just having a bad day. Neither I or he took it that way at the time, but I pushed him away. I was in a position where my best friend told me how deep a hole he was in, and I called him a liar. Whether or not it was as serious as depression doesn't really matter. I don't want to do that again, and I've changed his name for the sake of privacy in this video, but you know who you are, David, and I am sorry. Depression. Intense feeling of lonesomeness. Losing joy in things you found an immense amount of in your life. A feeling not exclusively correlating with bad experience, but instead a mental illness that can be treated, unlike a past. I want to learn, and I want to relay that information to you. This needs to be discussed, and many end up getting silenced like David, because what they have to share is scary, often terrifying. That's due to all of the unknowns. Despite science and millennia of expanding our understanding of humanity and the world surrounding us, humankind is still and always will be complex, no matter how easily you can classify individuals. Please, break your fear of the unknown, and never stop yearning to know more.